great. Thank you everybody for coming. Al, thanks for coming way down. Peter and Bobby, thank you so much, and thank you for a great speech. Mike, thank you so much. I got to tell you, it's such a shame that we've had to go. Mike had the closest race, 398 votes. You talk about every race, every vote counts, 398, and you know, it was that close. We had a chance to really turn things around, but we really got a chance to turn things around right now. We have, I'll tell you, I've been out door knocking every day now, and it's cold out there. It's cold out there. But my goal is to get to 12,000 doors myself, and I need some help with that. We've got to get to the voters. But there's a really good sign, as Mike was saying, there's a really good sign, and I'll give you an example. I was right here in town. I come up, and of course, you know, you got the cheat sheets. You know what door you're knocking on, and you look at it. And I got this Democrat door I'm knocking on, but he's an older guy. And I come up to his door, and he goes, Republican? Yeah. He goes, you know, stop right there. He goes, you got my vote. You got my vote. Right? I am so sick of this. I am so sick of this. And that's what we got. I mean, we had folks who were unhappy with Donald Trump, but he's proven himself right now. It would be nice if somebody filtered his tweets once in a while, but I mean, I wish like it went through somebody else, but he's making things happen, and the people are getting it. They're starting to understand it. So, but what's really cool, and I know it's only one house, but that Democrat's going to let me put a sign up at his house in September. Nice. Wow. Wow. So, thank you. Thank you again, everybody. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. So I think I almost know everyone here, but you know, I go back. First of all, I started humbly. I mean, I was talking to somebody yesterday. I was at a campaign event. We're talking afterwards. And the reason I think I will make a good senator is because I understand. I've lived it. I have a white-collar job now. I'm a nursing home administrator. I work with a lot of professional people, run multi-million-dollar companies, so I know how much $1 million is when they're wasting it. But, you know, when government's wasting it. But I also grew up very humbly. I lived in the projects in Arizona, for example, where we barely got by. I would literally get to feed I had 3 younger siblings, and I would feed them as my mother went to work, and if there was enough food left over, I'd get to eat. Now I'm making up for it afterwards. I made up for it now. But so when I go out door knocking, and I see these senior citizens and these people on fixed incomes where they're welling up telling me about taxes and welling up telling me about how they can't afford to keep their vehicle registered on the road because these ridiculous laws or ridiculous fees that they have to, you know, that breaks my heart. And that's why I'm back out here again. Because I can't stand by and see, like for example, Al was talking about the gas tax. We've got the Transportation Climate Initiative that Governor Charlie Baker, and I'm very shocked that Charlie Baker is pushing that, but we're going to discourage people from driving their vehicles, and we're going to hop on a bus or a train. Well, I got to tell you, in this district, when district runs from Charlton over to Munson on the Connecticut border, and goes right up and wraps around their house, unfortunately, but goes right to the New Hampshire border, wraps around all the cities. You know, you got Athol, Winchendon, Ashburnham, and Ashby at the top there. It is all rural district. I don't care what you do, you got to get your vehicle and you got to drive. And it's not going to slow anyone down, but we're just going to tax these people. These people can't afford it anymore. They can't afford these taxes anymore. So when I'm fighting for lower taxes, I'm fighting for the businessman. I'm fighting for the everyday, the middle class. But I'm really fighting for those people that just can't afford another dime. That's what we're doing here. And that's what these elitists, including Ann Goby, does not understand, that every time she votes to raise taxes, and I can tell you she votes and claims to vote for every tax. And you go, like I think Mike said, go back and look at her record. It's ridiculous. We had it, only time she said she was not for a tax was we had a debate. I was on Channel 22 debating her, and she kind of threw it back because she said she's not for the graduated income tax. You know, the millionaire's tax. Kind of threw me for a loop as we're debating, but turns out she's for it again. So, right? It's just only when there's an election year. And that's where you really got to go back and look at her record. It's a bunch of baloney that we hear from her.
What you need to do is get into the Legion, the American Legion. They love her. Get in there and let them know about all these things.
You got it. And that's the thing we've got to get to them. But so I'm a nursing home administrator. I know a lot about healthcare. I know a lot about running business. And I'm a small business owner. We just have our new company now. We're an author. I'm actually writing a second book. And focusing totally, thanks to my wife, focusing totally on this election. I've got 10 months now that I am simply your candidate for the office of state senator. And that means that I'm out every day. I'm out every day meeting voters. And I hit 40 houses before I came here. I was able to get home enough, make some notes, and off I went. So that's why I'm running. Is because I can't stand to watch any longer what's happening to us in Massachusetts. It is ridiculous how left-leaning we're going. Where we're going, where the criminals are not being taken care of. Where we have certainly folks, we've got our gun rights are being taken away and restricted, while the criminals are not being punished for illegal guns. It's crazy. It's crazy. We have illegals who we're now talking about getting them licenses. It's absurd. First of all, that's a ticket to voting. There's your ID. It's ridiculous.
Fraudulent licenses.
It's fraudulent licenses, and it's about upholding the law. I'm all for, like somebody asked me about DACA. It was one of a neighbor. He says, what do you think of DACA? You know, if they came here legally and there's a set path to citizenship, well, that's okay. But we're talking about illegal immigrants. It's great. I know a lot of immigrants, certainly in healthcare. We work with a lot of people because it is such tough work that people from all over the world come in to work in healthcare. That's great. These are people that want to become Americans, and you can't beat it. But we got to, this whole thing of her sponsoring legislation to make Massachusetts a sanctuary state is absolutely absurd. So the other reason I'm running...
Harboring a fugitive, is it not?
Yeah, Harvard.
Yeah, Harvard's right.
But I got to tell you, I support the president, okay? I support the president. And I love what he's doing. I love what he's doing with the taxes and business and bringing jobs back to America. All those kind of things we really need. And you know, remember President Obama saying that, you know, what's he got a magic wand? Well, he created. I always say government. Government doesn't create anything. They just get out of the way so businesses can create things. And that's really what he did, is he got us out of the way. But I am running. The straw that broke the camel's back when I said, I got to get back into this, is when somebody handed me this piece right here. Okay, now this is from the Massachusetts Caucus of Women Legislators. Okay, this was just signed July of 2019. Of course, most of our folks are all Democrats, right? So we stand in support of our colleague, Congressman Ayanna Pressley, Ocasio-Cortez, Omar, and Tlaib.
Throw them in jail.
Now, if you don't know who they are, AOC, the socialists. Presley, I'm not sure she's not a racist herself.
Oh, yeah, she is.
Yeah, she's losing her
Yeah, we've got Omar, who said that something happened. Yeah, she's terrorist.
Yeah.
She said that something happened. Well, she's not the terrorist.
Yeah, she is.
Yes, she is.
It's just an opinion.
Be careful what I say here. But she's the one that said something happened in the towers. Okay? Something happened in the towers. My son, as Mike said, my son lost his leg and was nearly killed in Iraq over these terrorists. And she discounts this.
What about Ilhan Omar?
And then Talib. You got Talib.
Yep, doesn't live
Right.
in the district.
Another one, what did she just do? I forget what she just did, but again, crazy left wing. This is somebody who Ann Goby supports. I got it right here on page 4, her signature supporting her in opposition of the president. Page 3 right here, I got a highlight. Hey, if anyone wants to see this. In opposition of the president, in support of these kooks, okay? That is absurd, and that's when I said, that's it, I gotta get back into this because I can't stand to see this. And that's what's happening in Massachusetts. This district is Mike's numbers were off a little bit. Actually, the president won by 10 points in this district. Okay? That's huge. This is a red district, and we got a really good chance. And last year, when you look at the non-incumbents versus incumbents, which in Massachusetts is a Democrat, typically, we had the second highest total, percentage-wise, in the entire state. So it was close. It was really close last year. And your support like this is going to help bring me over. So I really appreciate it. So we talked about the Transportation Climate Initiative that I absolutely oppose, and I oppose every new tax.
I oppose my Congresswoman Lori Trahan.
Right,
too.
every single tax. They're spending foolishly. I'm somebody in business who understands that, and that's always been my mantra, is that it's cutting good programs is not what you want to do, but you got to cut waste. We got a lot of business people in here. You cut waste, you cut foolish spending. So I was in a number of meetings with Ann Goby last year, and she kept saying, well, you don't understand government. You don't understand it. No, I don't. I don't understand the foolish spending. Like, for example, the transportation initiative from the train from Springfield they want to bring to Boston, okay? A lot of people are for that, and if there's a return on investment, that's great. If it's going to bring business out to here where we're not driving like they are in Boston, that's a great thing. But what she says, I don't get it, is because it's $1 million to study the feasibility of putting it in there. Now the train tracks are there, the trains are running on it already, and the stations are there, okay? You just got to put some passenger line. Yet they have it's $1 million to study it. I've run businesses with multi-million dollar, up to $12 million budgets. I know how much $1 million is. And I can tell you, I can't possibly imagine how you could spend $1 million doing that. But all those politicians look at me and go, well, you just don't understand. I don't understand. And I think it's about time somebody goes there and says, listen, show me those numbers because that doesn't make any sense. That's what we need. That's what we need to go there and fight. Somebody with a business sense like the president. Somebody understands that. They've got a $900 million deficit that was just reported on the news in a couple different places. After they were bragging about having $1 billion surplus that they just spent. Yet our roads aren't being fixed. I met a police officer in one of the small towns, against 28 towns, who said that the roads are so bad here, and I only get a car so many times. He says, he goes, you can't repeat this, so I'm not going to tell you where it's from, but it's one of the 28 towns. He says, I don't patrol certain areas because it'll tear the car apart. That's Massachusetts. It's gotta be. Yeah. And then you go up to the north. What town? What do you guess? It's not your town. It's not your town.
No, we'll go anywhere.
The highway department over here.
We'll go anywhere.
These guys know highway department. But you go up to New Hampshire, where they spend 1/4 of what we spend on roads, and those roads are beautiful. I've got a picture. I put a picture on Facebook last time. where I took a picture, I says, tell me where Massachusetts is and where New Hampshire starts. And you could see the line where the road was not. And that's what it's like everywhere. It's ridiculous. So we can fix this, but we gotta cut the waste. We gotta cut those politicians who are numb to the numbers. They don't understand how much $1 million is. We've got to get them so they understand how much it is and be there and say, well, that doesn't make any sense. I was talking to a contractor the other day about up in Ashby. I know it's a long ways from here, up by you guys.
Beautiful country.
They have, but get this, again, it's a district, so it's relevant to money that is going to be spent. They have a police station where it's in a 1965 double wide trailer, okay? Okay, it's in pretty nice shape for a double wide trailer built in '65. But they want to put an addition onto the fire station, which is a nice stone building right next door. 7,500 square foot building. The chief tells me it's estimated at $14 million to put a 75-foot addition onto this. And Ann Goby's been fighting for it for as long as she's been a senator, right? The first thing I'd say is, well, wait a second. It's a 7,500-foot building. How on earth is it costing $14 million, right? That's what we need to do. We can get these things. We can make these things happen. But we don't have to. We're going to cut the waste, and we don't need to raise taxes to do it. Sanctuary state. This, again, I already spoke on this, but we can't have a senator who supports making Massachusetts sanctuary state. Your constitutional rights. I am for protecting your constitutional rights. We have a senator who voted for the red flag bill, and I promise you, now, is everyone familiar with the red flag bill? So the protection.
It needs to go away.
Yeah.
So I'm calling you out.
Exactly.
All your guns.
There was
I
actually,
think you might be dangerous.
there was a police officer on the news that got his guns taken away recently. I think it was in another state, I think it was Colorado or something, because these red flags. Somebody says he's dangerous, and they took his guns away.
Of course I'm dangerous.
That is ridiculous. She voted, so she's supposed to be pro-guns, but yet voted for it. The guns aren't the problem, it's the criminals are the problem. That's the problem. Okay? Travel. You're right.
You can put your guns in your trust.
Yes, yes. But, again, we should not be taking folks' constitutional rights away. The right to travel is a constitutional right. Right? You know, I meet with a lot of 2A groups, and they're always focusing on the 2A. But I say, guys and ladies, that's not the problem. They're going after our constitutional rights, and that's what we have to think about. I'll give you an example. Parental rights. Parental rights. Just this week or last week, the Senate, including Ann Goby, all of them but two, right? But two of the Republican senators voted for this sex education bill. Okay?
That's crazy, man.
Yeah. Now unfortunately, it hasn't gone through the House, hasn't gone to the governor yet. But I was reading it. I had to do some Google searches because I didn't know what the heck they're talking about. I made it all this long. Well, what they're going to be teaching these kids in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, I can't repeat here. Or what?
Down to 4th, Steve,
Yeah.
from what I was reading. Down to 4th.
I thought it was 6, but
Geography training.
but yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. You know, here's the thing. Nothing wrong with sex education, but it comes down to parental control. We've got school committees, and yet Beacon Hill is trying to take away parental rights when it comes to that. That is ridiculous. And Ann Goby's trying to take those parental rights. That's a constitutional right that we have to be able to raise our kids how we want to.
That's why you need to homeschool.
Well, no, because we're paying our taxes. No, that is not. We need to get out there and change the stuff. Vaccination. I'm meeting with folks about vaccinations. And actually Keith and I were just talking about it too. And, you know, again, I'm in healthcare. I think prevention is good, okay? But from a constitutional point of view, it is none of the government's business how you treat your kid and the health care you get for the kid. It is the parent's right, and it is the parent's decision how you treat your kids. So if you want to know where I stand, just go back and look at the Constitution, because that's where I stand. That's where I am, and that's where I start every time. So supporting business, we've got to support business. There was just, I talked about it last campaign, we had this mass health connector. So these poor businesses, mass health connector tax. So these poor businesses are paying insurance for their employees, and then they were taxed a huge amount by Beacon Hill to take care of the people on mass health who wouldn't take up the company insurance. It was devastating. I was running a nursing home at the time, and that was the straw that broke the camel's back. They ended up having to close because of that fee. We've got to have legislation that supports business in here. The taxes, that TCI tax, that transportation tax, that's going to devastate folks. We have landscapers who need to get CDLs now to be able to take their equipment to go mow lawn. It's absurd. We've got to knock this craziness off. I know some of these guys touched on it already, but we gotta look at the Big Ten. I mean, the funny thing is and the frustrating thing about being a candidate, and again, I'm preaching to the choir here. You guys are all here, but we've got to think Big Ten here. We've got a common enemy, and this is liberalism, socialism, more government control, taking away our constitutional rights at the state level. And yet we're all fighting amongst ourselves about who's a rhino and who's a conservative, all those kind of things. We agree on 8 out of 10 things, or 7 out of 10 things. We got to get together. I mean, you go back to, for example, World War II. And I thank you all the veterans. I know we got a lot of veterans in here. I thank you for everything you've done for us. But you go back to World War II, and the U.S. and Great Britain and the Soviets teamed up against evil. Okay? They looked the other way and they teamed up against the Nazis. We've got to do the same thing here. We've got to look the other way, stop bickering with each other, and come together, because otherwise you've got, from a federal level, you've got AOC and all those people taking over, but from a state level, you have Ann Goby and the other senators in lockstep with Speaker DeLeo. And they are doing exactly what he says to do. It's no longer, they're not thinking for us. As Mike said, he's absolutely right. They're not thinking about us anymore. It's about what the speaker, what the leadership tells them to do. And I've been talking to people on the inside. That's what's happening. We need people to start thinking for themselves and go back to those 2 senators who had the courage, 2 Republican senators, to go against everybody else. That's what we need, and that's what I promise you. Because I got to tell you, I've been a man for a long time who simply does the right thing. Okay? Even at the detriment of, for example, if I'm working at a job, and I've had jobs where I've lost because I refuse to do something unethical. Alright? And that's the kind of man I am, because I can't sleep. And that's why I'm here. That's why I'm spending the next 10 months doing this again, because I can't stand to watch this anymore. So we've got to think about that. Think about the Big Ten. So again, I want to thank you guys. Thank you for your donation. The reality is, the American way, we need to spend money to do this. And of course, if anybody wants a copy of our book, everyone tells me it's a really good book. So, want to give a donation and get a copy of that. The other thing I need, as Bobby said, fundraisers. Anybody wants to do something in their house, I need fundraisers. We got to raise a lot of money this year, and it's really important. And again, that's why you guys are here. So I really appreciate it. And then I also need volunteering. I've got those door knocks I've been hitting on. I did 8,000 alone, or with my wife, or a few other volunteers. Mike was out there with us door knocking, and we need as many people as we can get. Phil actually had the police. We did have the police show up at Palmer. Phil's
Damn, my hair was a lot shorter too.
Yeah. We actually did have 2 cruisers.
They don't like tie-dye.
He scared one of the older.
And when they showed up, they called on the radio and says, "Oh, it's just the town council president."
He's town council.
It's okay. Speaking of fundraisers, real quick, we will be doing another motorcycle motorcycle ride in June sometime.
Yeah, June 6th.
Fundraiser, barbecue afterwards. If you don't ride, you can always go to the barbecue
Yeah,
type
June-
thing. And
Definitely June
I
6th.
haven't nailed everything down yet, but the date, we figured June 6th.
You guys, June 6th, we'll find a
June
place.
6th was the date, and all the other stuff we'll figure out.
It's a lot of fun. All right, I have talked way too much, so anyways, thank you all.
Thank you very much, Steve.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you.